7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to Freethought in Florida. Freethought in Florida is a production of the atheist community of Polk County. It's Friday, the 10th of September, 2021. It's almost next year already. Oh, shit. Hold on. We can't do this right. It's almost 2022.
Where did the year go? It's like almost Christmas.
Oh, no. Listen, yesterday it was 2019, and
I
I don't know
know.
what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks to all of our patrons at patreon.com/polkatheists who support the show. We want to give a big thank you to them for supporting the show and help keep us going. You too can join them, make a monthly pledge at patreon.com/polkatheists. You get access to bonus after show clippings and chit chat that we do sometimes, and other various and sundry extras and bonuses. And of course, we would love for you to rate and review the show wherever you get it. Give us all the stars, share out the episodes, tell everybody. Crazy times indeed, Sherry. Hello, Yarn. How have you been, Allie? Allie Ashmead tonight, everybody. Woo! I need an applause track.
Oh yeah. Oh, where's my horn? It's on my desk, but somewhere. You know what? How am I doing? I'm just trying to get the hell out of Florida. Honestly, that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. For all the things that we've talked about over the past year and a half or two, I'm sure are contributory to that.
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, what's your shirt say?
It says, "I solemnly swear a lot," which is true.
I love it. I need to get me one of those.
If you ever need to go to court or something, or next time you go and do one of the invocations or something,
wear it to that.
I solemnly swear a lot. Anytime yeah, that would be cool.
Oh my gosh. Well, here we are. Still doing this thing. I don't want to talk about COVID any more.
Why not?
And yet, here we are.
Yeah.
I'm just, guys, please wear your masks, get your vaccines.
Care about everybody. Care about other people.
Yeah.
Care about yourself too.
Yeah. That's what it all comes down to, just care. So we have some news stories that we'll go through and talk about tonight. Yes, some of them are freaking COVID related and vaccine related and mask related, and I'm really tired of talking about it. But also, like, if this is going on, you know, we're not dealing with like huge overruns of church-state separation. There have been some, and we talk about those as they come up. However, our first story tonight, let's start with the mask ban here in the great state of Florida. So the mask ban, I guess, is what it's called.
Yeah,
it's so freaking confusing.
Yep.
So school districts want to enforce mask mandates to keep our kids safe. The governor says you can't do that, and now it's gone into legal land, and the courts are looking at it, right? So the last week, I think we talked about last week, that a county judge, Leon County judge, had ruled that the state could not enforce a ban on mask mandates. So, yay masks. DeSantis, ban on mask mandates. No masks. Leon County judge, yes masks. And now
back to square one.
And now we're back to no masks. This is so stupid. This comes to us from the Miami Herald. Governor Ron DeSantis and his administration won approval on Friday to reinstate a hold on that Leon County judge's ruling that said the state could not enforce a ban on strict mask mandates in school. A 3-judge panel of the First District Court of Appeals pointed to serious doubts about a parent-led lawsuit that contends the governor overstepped his authority when issuing an executive order that aimed to bar strict mask mandates in schools. And one of the things they're when they use the word strict, that's a nod to not allowing parents to opt out as an option, which...
So opting out meaning I want my kid to wear a mask.
If the school districts decide, hey, we're going to require students to wear masks this year, then you can go in and say, yeah, but not my kid.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the kids that probably... Anyway. Quote, upon our review of the trial court's final judgment and the operative pleadings, we have serious doubts about standing, jurisdiction, and other threshold matters, the order states. These doubts significantly militate against the likelihood of the appellees, the parents, ultimate success in this appeal. End quote. The order means that pending the outcome of an appeal, the state can continue to punish school officials who impose mask mandates without a parent opt-out. Charles Gallagher, lead attorney for the group of parents, says, we are disappointed by the ruling and will be seeking pass-through jurisdiction of the Supreme Court of Florida. With a stay in place, students, parents, and teachers are back in harm's way. DeSantis responded to the appellate court's ruling on Twitter by saying, no surprise here, the first DCA has restored the right of parents to make the best decisions for their children. I will continue to fight for parents' rights. And the thing that just... when you hear words like restored to the right of parents to make the best decisions for their children, I will continue to fight for parents' rights, you would think that means like keep your kids safe, but it doesn't.
No, he's not representing those all parents, because I think a lot of parents are okay with wearing having their kids wear masks to school.
Right.
You guys, as an example, you and Becca have taken your children out of school because you want them to be safe, and the school isn't.
Right.
School doesn't want them to be safe. So
yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, so we live in one of those school districts that was like, well, the governor said we can't, so I guess we're not gonna do the thing. Like, no masks for us.
When do the kids get precedent? Kids' safety get precedence over? Who cares? Sometimes you got to do the right thing when it's the wrong thing.
Right.
You have to care enough to do the right thing when it's wrong.
There's an underlying theme, and this connects to a lot of the stories that we've got to talk about tonight. So we'll come back to this thought a few times, but like the connecting tissue here is, at what point, there is a point, at what point does like your personal freedom to make a decision about a thing cross over into public health and where we set aside our personal liberties for the betterment of the greater all, the greater good, the society. And I think like this all comes down to, in a lot of ways, like, where is that line, right? And these guys, the DeSantis style crew here, they're way over here in Libertyville. Like, I should be able to do anything, whether it harms you or me or my kids or whatever. Like, freedom, freedom, freedom.
However, they want to tell someone else what they can and can't do because it harms it doesn't like harm them at all, actually. It just harms their like sensibilities. And I'm talking about abortion.
I was about to say, no. What you mean to say is killing babies, because come on.
It's not killing babies.
It's not killing babies.
Globs of tissue.
A clump of cells. Yeah, clump of cells.
It's not even the same. It can't even be equated. Wearing a mask is just common decency, but then yet they're hurt by someone getting an abortion and it has absolutely does not touch their life at all. It makes no sense.
Right. You're absolutely right. Why is it that we can overstep your personal? Oh, well, this is a very rhetorical question, but we'll answer it. Why is it that we can overstep your very, personal my freedoms, in order to quote save the life of the unborn or whatever? But I can't cross your personal freedoms to protect people from a highly contagious pandemic disease. Like, come
Right.
on. Well, here's the difference. One of those happens to keep women subjugated and in your place and lower class, and yeah, and that's important. We have to maintain the patriarchy,
Absolutely. And the other one is just spite. I feel like they're just gonna be defiant against masks for spite. I
Right.
mean, there's nothing behind it other than just fucking spite.
Well, and like we've talked about,
Like,
as stories come up of the anti-masker who I think we talked about this a little bit last week too, like that are in the hospital, like being intubated, begging for the vaccine.
dying. Yeah.
Like, what will it take to get you to trust the science behind this? Let me tell you, well, we're not really on vaccines yet, but maybe this will be a good good segue. So I have people in my family who are not up with the science and the masks and the vaccines, and this is all bullshit. And I don't want to put words in their mouth, but like that's anyway. So I had a thought the other day, and this is an argument that has been made a million times, and like but it really hit like home to the family this week. My nephew and his wife just had a baby.
Mhm.
Congratulations to them. Cutest little thing. She's just a little sweet, chubby cheeks.
Aw.
I love babies. They're going to get that baby vaccinated for all the things that we vaccinate babies for.
Measles and
Yeah.
mumps and polio and all that stuff. So
Right.
that's why it's spite. This shit is spite. What they're doing right now is literally spite, because what's one vaccine over or the other?
Right.
They all
Well,
work.
I don't know what's in it. You don't know what's in the MMR vaccine. You don't even know that MMR stands for measles, mumps, and rubella.
Right. People don't even know what's in the McRib. Okay.
Oh my God! Why did you
And
have to say? I love
because
McRib.
I saw a meme the other day about the vaccine and the McRib. It's like, oh, I'm using that. I'm so using that.
I do love me a McRib though.
I haven't had one in 20 years. I don't know. It's not meat. That's not meat. That's not food. Okay. But people like it. And you know what? Eat it if you want to.
Right.
I don't care. But don't eat a McRib and then say something about, oh, I'm so concerned about a vaccine.
Right.
Go
Right.
fuck off. I mean, fuck off.
Mom Ashley Rose says, bleh, McRib. I'm pretty sure,
I
Mama,
remember.
we're fighting again, but I'm pretty sure we had a back and forth about this on the social media one time.
It tastes like, I mean, it's slathered with barbecue sauce. Anything tastes like
Right.
a rib.
Yeah. I wonder what a Beyond McRib would be like.
Well,
Like,
Beyond is really good.
It is. I was really disappointed. We had there's like a Burger King like literally across the road and up the street from us, and I love a croissant sandwich. I love me a sausage, egg, and cheese croissant sandwich. And they were doing the Beyond sausage for a while, and now they're not again. They like got rid of it, and I was like, what? It was so good.
That's enough healthy choices. Back to the back to the saturated fat for you guys.
That was too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But a Beyond McRib, I'd eat the crap out of that.
I would too. I totally would. But I know what's in it. So
So the last of this story about the Florida ban on school mask mandates. It is the latest twist in a legal battle over school mask mandates. 13 Florida school districts continue to defy the state's mask orders by imposing strict masking requirements. 13 Florida school districts are keeping their kids safe. Bravo you.
Out of
Yeah.
Out
Well,
of how many?
Isn't it a county? Each county is a school district here.
I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
I'm just
Hey
curious.
Siri. Did I just wake up somebody's device? No, what's the one you're supposed to say? Oh, Alexa. Hey Alexa. I don't know how many school districts there are in Florida, but if I keep talking long enough, there are 74.
Oh.
13 out of 74. But it's like the big ones, right? Most of the Miami area was the first to like defy these orders. So far, the state has begun withholding funds equivalent to the monthly salary of school board members in Broward and Alachua counties, and is in the midst of investigating other districts for non-compliance. So that's the whole, like, oh, well, if you're going to do the thing, we're just going to take money from you.
Just hateful.
Ugh.
And when they take money from the schools, they're hurting the kids, though.
Oh, yeah.
It trickles down and it hurts the children.
Oh, yeah.
So this is just about spite, and it's about thinking that I'm right and they're wrong. And this is what this is about.
Yep.
Not about the kids at all.
Absolutely. The state's financial penalties are likely to be offset by federal dollars. President Joe Biden's administration on Thursday announced the creation of a new grant designed specifically to cover any fines or withholding of funds that school districts face because of their mask rules. So that jumps us into, I think, the next story, which is the new Biden changes. So I got text messages, Facebook messages saying, "Hey, holy shit, did you see this Biden thing?" And I'm a third shift person. I don't see. I have to go looking for it.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't seen it. President Biden on Thursday used the full force of his presidency to push 2/3 of American workers to be vaccinated against the coronavirus, reaching into the private sector to mandate that all companies with more than 100 workers require vaccination or weekly testing. So again, now we're in that area of, as a business owner, right? At what point does your, my freedoms end? And yeah, but we're trying to manage a public health crisis. Where is that line? And I think for us, it's over here, where for them it's over here, right? I think that's pretty clearly established. So imagine you're a business owner, and again, like there's loophole here, a big open door for small businesses, right? To not have to comply with this. Fewer than 100 employees don't have to comply. But if you're a big company and you got a crap ton of employees, you either need to make everyone get vaccinated or you have to test everyone weekly.
Yep.
I don't know. What do you think about
which is free? Well, vaccines are free.
Right.
And testing is free too, but it takes, it's a little bit cumbersome if it's every week,
Right.
But well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and that, there's a cost
protecting...
associated with that for sure.
Yeah. For the company,
for the testing.
Yeah. So it would, in vaccine you do it once, and then maybe a booster 9 months or whenever they've decided whatever the time is for a booster shot, and then you're good.
I'm counting down till I can get that third that booster. Counting it down.
I'm ready.
Yep.
Did they? And I don't know if they decided it was 6 months or 9 months or.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think we're like December, based on when I got mine, is like December. This is from the New York Times. Biden also moved to mandate shots for healthcare workers, federal contractors, and the vast majority of federal workers who could face disciplinary measures if they refuse. The sweeping actions, which the president announced in a White House speech, are the most expansive he has taken to control the pandemic and will affect almost every aspect of society, They also reflect Biden's deep frustration with the roughly 80 million Americans who are eligible for shots but have not gotten them. I think we all share in that frustration.
80 million?
The percentage of the
Oh, I'm sorry.
with the
Like
roughly
80%.
with the 80 million Americans who are eligible for shots but have not gotten them.
Fuck.
80 million people's left.
Fuck. You know, we could have been over this.
Yeah, a year
We've been
ago we
over
could have
this.
been over this.
It's like the rebellious children. You know, like when your parents tell you to do something and you just don't do it just because your parents told you to do it.
Right.
That's the only reason that you don't do it, is just because somebody told you to.
Yeah.
This is what, it's so childish.
Yeah, but see, the thing about that is, like, usually then some other adult comes in and tells you to do the thing, and you do it for them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, you always do it for somebody else. You'll never do it for your parents.
Right.
So where's the aunt that needs to come in and...
Right. Or the grandma that's respected and...
Yeah.
Like, what?
Oh, no. Grandma died. She got COVID. And so
that's
you can't go to grandma anymore.
Yeah, and grandpa's already on a vent.
And that's a bad joke, but like legit,
It's
that's
awful.
where we're at.
It is awful.
Ugh.
But yeah, that is where we are. And then the people that are really public about speaking out, some of those people have died, like the pastors and the just whoever was, like, I think it was a radio jockey or something, or just these people who are rallying the other people to not get vaccinated are dying, and then on their deathbeds they're saying, I wish I had.
Right. Or the ones who are still pushing back against it, that have gotten it but not gotten, or who went and got the monoclonal antibody treatment and haven't had a severe whatever like that. I don't wish ill on anyone here, as frustrating as it is that they're being idiots. But like, for everyone that dies, there's someone who doesn't, who walks away going, man, I got it and it wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
and
then like, see,
that.
yeah.
Yep. One such person who recently got it, and we're not going to talk about this for long because this is an image I cannot shake from my fucking head, is Joe Rogan. Have you seen the picture of Joe Rogan's nipples floating around the internet?
No. Why would
seen this?
Why the fuck would I want to see it?
God.
Let's put it up. Let's see.
No, I don't have it on. Oh, I'm not putting it on the show. I will Jackie and Lori it to you, but I'm not putting it on the show. It's disgusting.
What does his nipples have to do with anything?
It doesn't. It just, there was a picture that was taken of him in a hot tub or something, and it made the rounds on the internet because it looks like Joe Rogan's got a sex dungeon and has had clamps pulling on his nipples for several decades.
He's like, yuck, gross.
Right? See, that's why I'm not putting it on the screen. But anyway, that idiot gross. Got COVID.
Google it, y'all. It's gross.
Don't. After
dinner.
Not
after
while you're
dinner.
eating.
I remember he was on the cow stuff. Oh, sorry.
Oh, kitty. Here, kitty.
Do you want some ivermectin, kitty? So he did the ivermectin, and did he do the monoclonal antibodies?
I think he did. I don't remember for sure.
So it's kind of like you don't know which one worked. I'm like, if you're okay, how do you know which one?
And the biggest problem I think about guys like that is Joe Rogan's fucking rich. He can walk into any doctor's office or hospital and get whatever it is he needs. In the same way that when Trump got it, like the best care. That was the worst example of how the healthcare system works.
Yeah.
Or doesn't. Yeah. So you can't look at those guys and be like, oh, they got it and they're fine. Right. But they don't have the shitty insurance that your employer provides to you.
Right.
They have the money.
Yeah.
Anyway, Biden says in a quote that I think just cuts to my soul. We've been patient, Biden said in a sharp message to those who refuse to be vaccinated, but our patience is wearing thin. And your refusal has cost all of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
That's right.
Even so, Biden conceded that the mandates would take time to have full impact. They are also all but certain to be the subject of legal challenges already. The largest union representing federal workers has raised questions. It is also unclear how many workers subject to the new mandates have already been vaccinated. Experts say Biden has the legal authority to impose vaccine requirements on the private sector through laws that require businesses to comply with evidence-based federal health safety standards. We have a whole goddamn department for this. It's called OSHA.
Mm-hmm.
OSHA, which enforces workplace safety, has already imposed other pandemic precautions, such as a rule in June requiring healthcare employees to provide, healthcare employers to provide protective equipment and adequate ventilation and ensure social distancing, among other measures. Robert I. Field, a law professor at Drexel University, said that OSHA had the authority to protect workers' safety, keeping them from being exposed to a potentially deadly virus by requiring vaccinations. And that brings me to another thought. It wasn't that long ago, once upon a time, when, like, there were no workplace safety standards,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we had, like, 12-year-olds up on iron beams hanging off of giant cranes in New York City building skyscrapers and shit. Like, and they're just, there were no protections for people at all. And employers, because this is how capitalism works, kids, employers will do whatever they want to do as long as it makes them the profit that they need to make.
Right.
And that includes screwing you over, you the worker. And that's why we have unions, and that's why we have health and safety organizations in the government to advocate for you as a person against the tyranny of capitalism, essentially. And I see this as no different, right? In the same way that, like, once upon a time, this is a story I don't think anybody's heard. Once upon a time, I worked in a factory called Agrifab. Okay,
Okay.
in Sullivan, Illinois, Agrifab. We made trailers that hook onto lawnmowers and shit like that, right? Like yard products.
Okay.
Think the outdoor section at Lowe's, right?
Okay.
And so, but I worked on the paint line, and so these parts would come through to get painted, and the flat bits automatically they just go through the machine and it paints them evenly. But the creases that doesn't happen automatically, right? So you have to stand in the box with the spray gun and go psh, 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 in the creases every time a piece comes by, right? That's what I did once upon a time. I had to wear big fucking goggles and a face mask, and you'd come out of there and all of those areas that weren't covered by the mask would be like 14 different colors of paint, because I was literally sitting in a box spraying powder paint.
Right.
And it's because of workplace safety regulations that I was required to be given the goggles and the mask and all of the things to keep me safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is no
as
different.
opposed to them getting lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. So does that mean like if a company doesn't do anything to protect someone from COVID, like if they have no regulations at all, can and one of their employees sue or catches COVID,
Yeah,
can they sue?
you're going down an interesting road there.
Because I mean, I feel like they should, and especially if they're required to come to work,
right?
With no, protection.
Would the burden of proof be that you have to, like, you would have to somehow prove that you got it at work? Like, wouldn't that be the, that would be the high bar to meet, where they could say, well, you after you go from work, we don't know where you go and what you do. You could be out at the Sizzler or whatever.
Sizzler. But yeah.
What's wrong with the Sizzler?
But you're right. I guess that is the loophole. That is why they can get away with it. But just have some decency. Protect your employees. That's it. How hard is that? It takes low effort.
Oh, Sherry, are you? Let's see. No, let me read the whole message before I get to work. 2 guys at my husband's job were hospitalized for 2 days or for 2 weeks. They were refusing the vaccine. Hospitalized with COVID. God, I read hospitalized with COVID and had a conniption thinking Sherry had been hospitalized with COVID. Please don't say that that's true. But a couple of guys at work. Yeah, I have been very careful to talk about like my I keep my identities very distinct and I try to keep them separate. So unless you know me, you don't know what I do or where I work and all of that stuff. And I try not to talk about it. And yet, I will say like there are departments at my work that are notoriously anti-vaccine and like are constantly people are out for a COVID infection or that they've been around with somebody and are quarantining and like nope, they want me to come down to the administration building for whatever thing to pick up a whatever. Nope, I'm sorry, I'm not coming down there. In my work, because I work overnights, I see a handful of people a day and I like it like that.
Yeah, that's
like
awesome.
I don't need to be hanging
The
out
less
with
people,
all y'all.
the safer
Exactly.
you are.
And again, like, not for me. I have the vaccine. Becca's gotten the vaccine, but she's also immunocompromised, and our kids are too young to get the vaccine. So again, it's all about like caring for other people. So there you go. We'll see what happens with this Biden mandate. Again, like the article said, I'm sure it won't take long. But there will be legal challenges to that.
Yeah. It'll be an all-out revolt.
Let's shift gears out of COVID and talk about a thing. No, let's do this. Let's talk about this comes from LGBTQ Nation. Catholic schools can't fire teachers for being gay. Federal court rules. Now.
Oh boy.
Last Friday, let's see, this is September 6th. Yeah, last Friday, U.S. District Judge Max Cogburn, that's a name, huh? Ruled that the Charlotte Catholic High School and Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Charlotte, North Carolina, wrongfully fired gay substitute drama and English teacher Lonnie Billard in 2014. How are you going to get a not gay drama teacher? Come on. Sorry, I shouldn't say that.
Musical theater.
Right. Cogburn ruled that the school violated federal protections against sex discrimination under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. The judge wrote that the school's actions weren't protected by constitutional rights to religious freedom. He also ruled that, quote, the school's action didn't fit into exemptions to labor law that gives religious institutions leeway to require certain employees to adhere to religious teachings, as reported by the Edge Media Network. The plaintiff is a lay employee who comes onto the campus of a religious school for the limited purpose of teaching secular classes, with no mandate to inculcate students with Catholic teachings, Cogburn wrote. The school and diocese are considering whether to appeal the ruling. So here's the thing. We have employment, housing, public accommodations laws that protect against, it's the 1964 set, right? You can't be discriminated against because of race, religion, creed, sex, blah, 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 disability, prayer, whatever. All of those things. However, there have been made exemptions for certain limited for churches, for religion, because that's what we do here. And so what you tend to think of in that case is like the ministerial exception. And the ministerial exception says, if I'm going to hire somebody to work at my church, well, they should be a member of my specific denomination or sect or whatever. Like, if I run a Catholic, whatever, I'm not going to hire someone to work in the office who's a Southern Baptist, maybe. Like, I want all of my people to be Catholic. And we have said, legally, okay, that checks out. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But in I misspoke when I said like secretarial, whatever. Like, but as a ministerial, someone who is teaching, someone who is imbuing the religious doctrine to people in that institution. That's the exception. It was broadened in a case recently that I can't remember. But so like teachers, for example, at religious schools would be covered, even though they're not quote unquote ministers, right? Because in the course of your education at a religious school, it includes, the religious teachings.
And as long as they are the same, like Catholic or whatever, the same religion, same
like the
denomination.
The school has the right to say, yeah, we only want Catholics.
Mm-hmm.
Which otherwise, if you're running, if you own a lumber yard, you can't just be like, oh, I'm only going to hire Presbyterians to work here. That doesn't work, right?
Right.
So that's the difference.
Catholic is their brand. So, yeah, it makes sense to do that. However, the other stuff,
I'm okay with that.
Like where you put your genitals has no fucking bearing on what you teach or how you teach. And
So Billard filed a lawsuit looking for back pay and benefits, punitive damages, compensatory damages for emotional distress, and a court order blocking the school and diocese from firing other LGBTQ teachers in the future. Judge Cogburn said Billard's compensation will have to be determined in a later trial. However, in a statement to the Charlotte Observer, the diocese wrote, quote, "The First Amendment, federal law, and recent Supreme Court decisions," elections have consequences, friends, all recognize the rights of religious organizations to make employment decisions based on religious observance and preference. They do not and should not compel religious schools to employ teachers who publicly contradict their teachings. Now, a couple of things. I guess, like, somebody is going to say, well, if I'm a gay drama teacher, why the fuck would I want to work at a Catholic school anyway? Okay, but listen, like, we know that there are queer religious people.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Like it or not.
Right.
Like it or not. Understand it or not.
Yeah.
There are.
Yep. Those people exist. And that's okay. I stand up and fight for their right to believe that, whatever they want, right? In 2014, the school fired Billard after he announced his wedding to a man on Facebook. He posted about his upcoming wedding in October 2014 and was informed by assistant principal several weeks later that he no longer had a job with the school. Not long after that, local diocese spokesman David Haynes, LGBTQ Nation spokesperson, David Haynes publicly stated that it's an LGBTQ news website. You'd think I'm sorry. David Haynes publicly stated that Billard was let go for quote, going on Facebook, entering into a same-sex relationship, and saying it in a very public way that he does not agree with the teachings of the Catholic Church. At the time, Billard, a Catholic, gay Catholic, exists.
So was it that he just announced his wedding, or did he say something about the teaching of the Catholic Church?
No,
was it?
I believe it was just, we saw on your Facebook that you like cock, and that's not going to work for us. Like, that's just not going to work for us because we don't believe that here in the Catholic Church.
Right.
What they meant to say was you're over the age of consent, and that's the problem. No. Well, it took you a minute. It took you a minute to get that one.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Wow. You're right, though. You're right. I see no lies here.
If the shoe fits. At the time, Billard, a Catholic, added, apparently there were a couple teachers there who are super conservative Catholic. They are not friends of mine on Facebook, but they found out about it and escalated it, so it got to the diocese. So it's like
they tattletale.
Other teachers told on them.
Mhm.
2017, he sued the school. He taught English and drama full-time at the school for more than a decade, earning its Teacher of the Year award in 2012, then transitioned to a role as a regular substitute teacher, typically working more than a dozen weeks per year, according to the lawsuit. So, like, one of the things that we have talked about on the show a lot, particularly, I think, like in the first, if you want to call it we don't have seasons, but in the first season, right? We talked a lot about there was a big like dust up here in Florida about religious schools, and their not necessarily hiring practices, though that was part of it, but their like code of conduct rules and like the statement of faith that you have to sign as a student or
Mhm.
and parent of a student to go to these schools, that you have to say like, I abhor homosexuality and it's yucky and I don't like it. Like on
Mhm.
paper, you have to like say, nope, I agree that the school does not accept this, and so if I am found to one day, start to like people of the same sex,
Mhm.
and the school finds out, they can kick me out.
Mhm.
They can terminate my employment. You have to agree to all of this stuff up front. Like, it's in their disclaimer sheets that you have the statement of faith that you have to sign.
To be in their little exclusive club.
Hmm. With taxpayer dollars, and that's the problem, and that's what we've been bitching about for the last
Mhm.
2 years, is that especially in the state of Florida, we have been draining funding from public schools and putting it into voucher programs. And voucher programs, on paper, the talking points sure sounds good. Parents should have a choice on where their kids go to school, and if they don't want them to go to the public school, why should I have to keep paying to the public school when my kid doesn't go there, my kid goes
Mhm.
here? I want to be able to take my money and put it there. Like, I understand that argument, and for a while I even bought it. For a while,
Mhm.
I was, I mean, I used to be I used to be a conservative Christian, so I bought it once upon a time. But now it's like, it's the difference between this like individualism and collectivism, and I've moved down that scale so far in the
You.
past 15 years, maybe. Um, I'm a collectivist. We have to do that. We have to do this together. This go it alone, rugged individualism bullshit doesn't work.
Yeah.
It works to a point, but then we have to work together and take care of each other and support each other. And so when it comes to public schools, that means that we all pay into the public school system, whether you have children or not. Like,
Yeah.
whether you have
Yeah.
kids in school or not, but whether you have kids or not. Like, if you have kids and they
Everybody pays.
graduate, you still pay into it. And we do that because there is a value in having a well educated public. So we all invest in it. Socialism. But like,
Harumph, harumph, harumph.
harumph. Yeah. Anyway, I got way off track there, but
But
like,
no, but you're right. You're right. And all it's going to end up with our kids are going to get dumber and dumber. And because, those dollars matter to public schools.
mhm,
And when you yank that away, you yank away programs and
yeah,
um, materials, and they don't get stimulated in their brain cells. And they don't, and then and everyone else is being indoctrinated over here, so you got more kids being indoctrinated at these religious schools, and then we're just going to crank out a bunch of non-thinking kids.
yep, yep.
I don't know.
Um, there is also a line, I guess, trying to be drawn, that comes into that funding question of, okay, if you operate a religious school, church, whatever, and you want to
Hmm.
require your employees to be straight, white, cis het, whatever, good old Christian, good old
Yeah.
boy, then the question of government funding, of public funding, can make a difference in that. If you don't receive any tax money, then you're kind of a private entity and you can do whatever the fuck you want. And
Right.
like, we'd
Yeah.
like to be able to impose, better values on you, but we can't. So like, there's an argument to be made, I think, there. But so many of these schools are receiving voucher money, taxpayer funded programs. And so I'm sorry, if you're receiving tax money, then you should have to play by the rules that everybody else does. And that means you cannot discriminate on the basis of all of these
Anything
things.
that you're born to be, you're
Yep.
born with. And are these schools, like these religious schools, are they teaching science and things like that?
I think you meant to say science.
Oh.
Right? The world is 3,000 years old, and exactly.
My bad.
The world is 3,000 years old, and Jesus used to ride a dinosaur to work at the quarry, and the Flintstones is a documentary. Evolution is a lie. Yes, they teach.
And there was no
science.
Adam and Eve were really Fred and Wilma,
Yep.
and yeah.
Yeah, where did this come up? We talked about this recently too. We're talking about, like, for the longest time, believing just the dumb shit you believe because growing up religious, that men had one less rib.
Yeah.
I-
It's
I remember
so not
believing that
even
for a while.
true.
Yep.
So not even true.
But like, I get it. I get it. This is why
They're
we
not
need...
gonna know. They're not gonna know how their body works, which they don't know now. They don't want to know.
Nope.
They're not gonna know anything about science, and then we're gonna have a whole generation of people where science. We're not gonna make any technological advancement because of that.
Yeah. We are in many ways in a tug of war, and I think this is that whole the arc of the universe, and we are
Everything goes around
and we are progressing, like,
and around.
depending on the time scale that you zoom into when you're looking at, like, where are we on the scale of progress, right? Like, in our lifetimes, when you look at, like, in our lifetimes in the scale, like, so many things flip back and forth, and like, but when you zoom it way out, you're like, okay, are we better off than we were 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago?
For sure.
Like,
Well, we think we are. Are we though?
But
just because it depends.
But Sarah's pendulum theory of everything says that everything operates like a pendulum, and we swung back into the dark ages for a bit, y'all. We're distrustful of science. We're like following all of these people who the reality TV president and all of this nonsense, like
make up shit.
And so I have to be hopeful that there is a new enlightenment on the other side of this dark ages. Like, I feel like we just kind of swing back and forth, right? We keep moving a little bit each time, but there is a swing back where we rush forward into the future and, like, oh, we've got a black president, everything's great.
Oh,
and then
we got a black president, everything isn't great.
Right, and then the pendulum goes flying back the other direction. So
it's a net gain, but it is like you said, really, it's so back and forth.
Right. Anyway, the next story. This is.
I like your tangents. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, I get mad about things. I actually got sleep. I'm feeling good.
Yay!
Got up this morning. I mowed the yard because it's Florida. You have to mow it every 3 days, and
pretty much. It's a jungle.
And it's like 9,000 degrees outside. So then I had to, like, take a shower, and then I was like, my eyes were burning because the like literally sunburnt, and I wear a hat, and I wear I do all the things that I'm supposed to do, and still
doesn't matter.
So I laid down and took a nap because I'm an old person. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's all right.
I love naps.
Naps are good.
The next story is not fun, and it's local to us here. So a lot of people in my circle around here have been sort of talking about this and looking at it and bringing it up. And it's only included really because there is, I think, something to be said about religious priming from this story. Here in Polk County, in a bizarre occurrence, 4 people were killed, including a baby, during a shooting rampage in Lakeland early Sunday morning. This from Bay News 9. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said the suspect shot at 2 different homes along North Sockram Loop Road, killing 4 and injuring an 11-year-old girl. The girl, who was shot multiple times, is being treated at Tampa General, according to authorities. She's expected to survive. The suspect also shot the family's dog. Judd says the crime scene and investigation is just beginning. It will take days. This is, from a few days ago. He identified the suspect as Brian Riley, 33, of Brandon. The sheriff's office says Riley claimed he was on meth and that he was a survivalist when he was taken into custody. Judd said Riley's girlfriend and family also say he was an honorably discharged Marine who suffered from PTSD and in the last week or so believed he could talk to God. And pause. So, first of all,
so much going on there.
For all the chest-thumping, flag-waving, God bless America, support our troops bullshit that I have to hear from people in this country, we do not take care of our veterans.
No, we do not.
We don't. So spare me your "we support the troops" bullshit. Because until you're prepared to raise your taxes, to fund the programs, to take care of people when they come back from fucking war, wars that we shouldn't have sent them into in the first place, half the time, most of the time now, I want to hear it.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then there's this talking to God religious priming piece of this story. However, Grady said Riley was very in tune with his statements and admission, playing word games, and at one point told deputies the victims begged for their lives and killed them anyway. Judd said the man was a rabid animal. Okay, first of all, Grady Judd is a special cat. If there's a camera and it's on, I'm surprised he's not behind me.
Who's Grady Judd?
He's our sheriff, the Polk County sheriff.
Gotcha.
Grady Judd, famous Christian nationalist who gives talks in churches in uniform, and previous atheist groups here tried to handle that legally and did not succeed. Yeah, he's a Christian nationalist. This man is evil in the flesh, Judd said. The sheriff's office received multiple 911 calls about an active shooter around 4:30 a.m. Deputies, Lakeland Police, SWAT, and other agencies responded to the area near Fulton Greed Road in unincorporated Polk County. According to the report, quote, deputies came under attack when they arrived near the residence. They also heard a woman screaming. Sheriff Judd said 100 rounds were fired between Riley and deputies, who they said was in camp, and bulletproof vest. Camo, I think, is the typo there. Was in camo and a bulletproof vest. He's a survivalist. The suspect was shot once, but no law enforcement officers were injured. Eventually, deputies were able to get into the house, and that's where they found the injured 11-year-old girl who told deputies there were 3 others in the house. Deputies in Lakeland Police, who assisted in the case, found 3 victims in the home. Justice Gleason, 40, a white female, age 33, a white male, 3 months old.
Jesus Christ. Who shoots a fucking 3-month-old?
The woman was still holding the baby boy, deputies said. Judd said the deputies found a 64-year-old woman, believed to be the younger female's mother, and the baby's grandmother in the home behind the first house. Those 4 did not survive. The unnamed victims are not being identified because family members invoked Marcy's Law. It is not entirely known what the motive is in the mass shooting. Judd said Riley was not related to any of them. However, on Saturday evening, Riley stopped near the home and spoke to a man on a lawnmower, possibly Gleason, and said God sent him to speak to an Amber, one of his daughters, because she is going to commit suicide. The man said there was no one named Amber here, but Riley insisted. The man called the sheriff's office. The deputies searched the area for more than 20 minutes, but Riley had gone. Judd said that according to Riley's girlfriend, Riley had had depressive episodes since returning from his tours overseas, but never violent. However, last week, Riley came back from a job as a security guard at an Orlando church and told her that he could now talk directly to God.
Okay.
Over the week, he became more erratic, but remained nonviolent. For instance, Judd said Riley told his girlfriend that God told him to get relief supplies for Hurricane Ida victims. He also bought $1,000 in cigars as gifts. After the suspect came home Saturday evening, the girlfriend allegedly told Riley that God was not talking to him. Riley told her there was no room for doubters in his life, and he went into his man cave. When she woke up early Sunday morning, he was gone. Judd said the girlfriend is fully cooperating. Riley was taken to Lakeland Regional and was treated before being released and booked into jail. As a Marine and in the reserves, Riley served in Afghanistan and Iraq, and he was designated as a sharpshooter. He did have a concealed carry permit and no criminal history. Judd said that just because someone has a mental health issue, it doesn't mean they're going to become a mass shooter.
I'm sorry, what? Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, he's right. Just you know.
Yeah, but the likelihood is real high.
In Grady's own way, he's trying to be like, look, just mental illness doesn't mean you're going to be a killer. It doesn't mean you're going to be a bad person. Like, lots of people have mental health issues, and we deal with them with medication and therapy, and we handle our shit. And that's all he's trying to say.
Okay. Yeah.
The reality, he's trying to couch it and be like, don't blame this on mental health necessarily. But
okay, I'll let you. I'm gonna pull a Kanye. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish.
The reality is, this nation doesn't do enough to help the mentally ill, Judd said. However, it was clear the crime scene rattled Judd through the news conference, as the normally fearlessly blunt sheriff at one point said he probably shouldn't say much more about his thoughts on the suspect. Yeah, he is notorious for being like, let me tell you what I think about this piece of shit.
Right.
He's like good old boy, Wild Wild West, Grady Judd.
Boss hog kind of thing.
You're right. The reality is, this nation doesn't do enough to help the mentally ill. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Mental health is physical health, and there's no reason why it should be a separate thing in your insurance. Like,
your brain is part of your body. Hello, it is physical health. It is very much physical health.
Yeah, your brain's an organ, man. Like, if you have problems with your liver, you go see your doctor and they treat your liver.
Right.
Why isn't it the same with your brain? Like, it's all organs.
I think because we don't even understand our own brain. I think that we think it's some concept when it is actually, it's not a concept. It's in your freaking skull.
Right.
And no, I don't know what happens to these poor soldiers that come back and they have PTSD. I don't know if they get help. A lot of them probably do turn to the church because they can't get like a actual, either it's a stigma still to even have it, so maybe they don't go seek help. Maybe they can't get help because there is none available for a vet. But church is always there, and I think I'm guessing. I'm not saying that this is. It's not church's fault. It's not religion's fault. However,
there's a lot
when you already have there's a lot going on. But when you already have a broken mind that's crying out for help, the last thing you want to do is fill it with that.
Yeah. Yep. So here you have somebody who is suffering from military. Oh. Hope we still have power. Are we still on the air? Who is suffering from military PTSD, who's on meth, admittedly on meth, And that'll
There you go.
I've
I
never
mean,
done it, but I guess that'll make you see some shit.
yeah. There's a documentary that I would recommend on that. But yeah, that's not something you want to do when you've got PTSD
Right. Right.
because it will make you see and hear shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like there's just and Polk County is pretty high up on the charts
Oh no, is it?
for meth. Oh yeah.
Mm,
I should have done this research. I want to just see like, is there a county by county? Florida counties with most meth labs. This is from Wesh 2 News in 2014, so it's a little old. Oh no, there's nothing there. It's a video.
meth labs, Florida. Let's see.
Anyway, yeah, so there's a lot of things going on here, right? And then he's got all this going on, he's doing drugs, he starts a new job at a church where he's hearing all of this God speak, talking about, God talks to you and you can talk to God and God tells you to do things, and like, and now suddenly God's telling him to. Let me pull up the article from Hement on the Friendly Atheist, because I think he went into some different detail that maybe would be good to talk about. Let me see, or maybe not. There was one that I read that went into like a lot more detail about the this Amber, that he was looking for this girl Amber who was supposedly like not well and he needed to find her to save her or something.
Yeah, I mean, something got that fixated in his head. And
yeah,
I don't know. But again, we're dealing with a unstable and drug induced state.
Right. Like we don't really know what caused him to break and go on this attack. Like we don't really know. It could be any number of these factors in any kind of combination. Like it's not specifically PTSD, it's not specifically mental health, it's not necessarily the drugs specifically. Right. Like it's some like this cocktail of things that was going on in this dude's life.
And some trigger that we don't know. Everybody that commits a crime always has some kind of trigger that makes them snap and actually take action to do it.
Right.
But we don't know. But
yeah. No, that his Hement's didn't have any more detail. I don't know where I read that now, but anyway. So like it was one of those details of the incident that you probably didn't want to hear anyway, that would have required a trigger warning. Like it was talking about like this guy went into the house and found this person and was like, "Where's Amber?" And like talked about the back and forths that this guy had with these people before he like snapped and shot them. So you probably didn't want to hear that anyway. But
how horrifying! I mean,
yeah,
and unnecessary.
And I pulled this because a lot of people are talking about it. It's a big story around here right now, obviously. But like, I think the important takeaway is sort of where we just ended there. This idea that like, okay, it's not necessarily any one of these things. Like some people want to go like, ooh, look at the God thing. It's a religion. Religion fucked this guy up. And it's like, okay, but that's not
the cause.
It's oversimplifying. Yeah. Or like, oh, he had PTSD. Of course he had PTSD. Oh, make anybody like all of those things, I think, oversimplify the issue. That again, it's some combination that we don't understand and may never understand because again, we don't take mental health seriously, and our our system of I don't want to say justice because it's not, but like, and this is I go down this road and people I turn people off with sort of how I feel about this in general, because like I get it, the dude killed this whole fucking family, including the family dog and an infant. Yeah, lock him away, throw away the key, fuck that guy, he's not worth it. I
Mhm.
get why you feel that way. I really, really, really do. But there's a humanist down deep inside of me that says, we failed this guy. We did. As a
Oh yeah.
society, we failed this guy. Like, we have to take, again, this is not the individualism versus the collectivism. We have to take some sort of responsibility as a society for permitting the conditions that allow this sort of thing to happen in the first place.
Mhm.
So we don't fix the problem in the first place. Then when
Right.
this kind of thing happens, it's all personal accountability and no
Mhm.
social accountability.
Right.
And it's got to be a blend. It's got to be a mix. And so then we'll lock this guy away and throw away the key, and we might even try to get a death penalty for him and kill him back.
Right. And then this machine just cranks out another Riley
Mm-hmm.
because that's and we if we like you said, if we don't stop and say, okay, what is causing these people to snap?
Right.
Well, and we do studies of things like all the time. Let's do some studies. We've got lots of data
Right.
on all these shootings, and there's some common things. Like, let's do some studies, get some data, and look at what is it in our society that we're doing to cause this, because this is us.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I feel like in many ways we collectively let not just this guy but all of these stories that you hear about about this breakdown happening, and you should write something fun on the bottom of that so that when you tip it up it says like
Oh,
fuck
oh
your
yeah, yeah.
feelings or something. I don't know.
Okay,
uh,
I can do
something
that.
fun. We'll figure out something fun. Yeah, so like I'm trying to balance the emotional reaction of like, yeah, fuck that guy, and the
Yeah,
rational reaction of like, God, we screw up so many people and don't like,
and just
and then we make it worse. We put them into this punitive system that's not about rehabilitation at all, and all it does is just spin people's lives out of control. It
yeah.
doesn't make them better. It doesn't bring them back into society in a meaningful, useful, positive way.
And
It's just bad all from start to finish.
yeah, and what we should be doing is finding out why.
Yeah.
Like why instead of the what. We know what,
Right.
and we're dealing with the what he did.
Yeah.
But we just need to find out why.
And I think a big part of why we're resistant to that is if we find out
We don't want to
why.
be to blame. I think we know why. I think
Yeah.
there's underlying dread of, okay, maybe it's something we could be doing, or I think we know deep
That's
down.
the thing. It's the something we could be doing bit that keeps us from doing it. Because why should I have to pay my hard-earned tax dollars to
No.
help this person? They should
But
just pull up their little bootstraps and
yeah, the bootstraps.
the,
We need
like
Devin's little bootstraps. Like, but then yeah, like you said when you started this about people who are saying, "Oh, my freedom's my flag," and all this,
mm-hmm.
and God bless our vets, and no,
Yep.
you don't care about your vets, because if you don't want to pay taxes, those taxes help things like this,
Yep.
and you're there's like this disconnect of people. Okay, that's what your taxes are for. All these vets and people that you welcome home and you pray over them when they die in the
Mm-hmm.
field in Afghanistan. Oh, you know, but what about the ones who come home?
Yep. It,
Oh, it just makes me so mad.
again.
Oh, by the way, tomorrow is 9/11.
Yeah. 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 Speaking of mass tragic
Bullshit.
deaths,
I mean,
um,
it's like it's yeah. Anyway.
I really feel like and I talk about this in other contexts too. Like the next thing we're going to talk about is food security, and how I often say like if it means I have to pay a little bit more in taxes, but no one goes to bed hungry tonight,
Mhm.
take the money. Like
Yeah.
we're not hurting, we're not Jeff Bezos. But like, if it means
We're not
my
gonna
taxes
know.
got to go up just a little bit to help somebody else, do it. Fine, I'm good with that. In the same way, if you told me, hey, there is this really great set of programs that people can go through, that and there are,
Mhm.
uh, I don't know how effective they are. I'm not an expert in like trauma recovery, PTSD, whatever treatment. But like, if you told me that, hey, there are these really effective procedures that people can go through that, that makes it so that if a door slams in their house, they don't jump up and grab their gun thinking that they're back in Afghanistan, getting ready to get lit up. If there's a way to make that person not have to relive that experience every time a door slams, let's pay for it. I'm down for that. We spend so much goddamn money on the military. Put some of that towards helping these people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
But it's one of those, like, if it doesn't affect me, then I don't really care. But they want to, like, have that image of patriotism.
Yes.
And
yeah. It didn't affect you, but you know who it affected? These random fucking people in this house that this guy burst into that had nothing to do with these people.
Right. And now they're all dead. And an 11-year-old has lost her entire family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
So I don't know. I hope that addresses the questions and concerns that people have brought up to me. That I said, like, I appreciate you bringing that up. I'm not going to type all this out. Stay tuned. Wait for the show. I'll go on a rant. The final story that we have for tonight, I had pulled for last week and then I dropped it, but I'm pulling it back up again because I'm still mad about it. So, in the state of Florida, and I think this is a USDA program.
Okay.
That provides school lunches to all students. Okay, a lot of places don't do this. A lot of places are classist in the way they do this. Like, oh, if you want free lunch, you have to fill out the forms and prove that you're poor. Like, when the reality is, again, we have enough money and food in the richest goddamn nation on earth that we can just feed all the kids. Let's just feed all the kids. That's my preference. So when I grew up, it wasn't free lunch. Like, you had to buy your lunch, and there was a reduced or free lunch program that you could sign up for and whatever. In Florida, and I believe this is statewide, there is a federally funded program that provides school breakfast and lunch to all students. It's a great thing. Finally, Florida got something right.
Great. Breakfast would be, that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So Florida's gotten it right. This is a story about Wisconsin. Just not one of those states that you think of when you think doing stupid stuff. It's not in the South, for starters.
Yeah. Shocker.
And it's not the whole state. It was a particular district. This is from the USA Today. At nearly every Wisconsin public school, all students will be able to eat free meals this academic year, same as they did last year under a federally funded program responding to the pandemic. But not in Waukesha, located approximately 20 miles from Milwaukee. Administrators opted into the program last year, but school board members intervened and hit the brakes this time around. And again, this is a dated story. This is 8/28, so this probably changed since the initial story. Quote, as we get back to whatever you want to believe normal means, we have decisions to make, Joseph Como, president of the school board, said in a meeting. I would say this is part of normalization. Board member Karen Rajnicek nailed it, said the free program made it easy for families to become spoiled. Darren Clark, assistant superintendent for business services, said he feared there would be a slow addiction to the service. Waukesha students from low-income families will still be able to apply for free or reduced-price meals under the traditional National School Lunch Program. In addition, as was practiced before the pandemic, young students in grades lower than high school who come to school without a packed lunch money or an accepted lunch program application may be given cheaper meals of cheese sandwiches, Finance Director Sherry Stack said. Their guardians will be charged for them for their cheese sandwich.
Because it's so expensive. It's really expensive.
It is super expensive.
What is it, Gouda? I mean,
Oh, I love me some smoked Gouda.
I do too.
Oh
Okay,
man,
I
of
do
all
too.
the cheeses, that's my favorite.
But I mean,
The U.S. Department of Agriculture's decision to extend the seamless summer option during the pandemic to offer free meals year-round has allowed for more COVID-safe practices by eliminating the need to collect payments and allowing meals to be served more easily in classrooms or outside. That was a great program too. We took advantage of that a few times when there were
yeah,
some tough weeks over the summer. Like you could roll up to the local school and they hand you a box of food.
food.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
The decision also allowed students to be fed regardless of their ability to pay, qualify, convince their parents to fill the form out, or withstand stigma associated with qualifying. Sherry Tussler, executive director of Hunger Task Force, said the program is vital for ensuring access to food. When children are in your company and it's mealtime, you feed them, Tussler said. You don't sort them. This gives the district the opportunity to not sort children, to feed them all. In an email to Stack, Deborah Wallen from the State Department of Public Instruction's school nutrition team said she highly recommended the school reconsider, noting the child hunger rate in Waukesha County increased from 9% in 2019 to 13% in 2020. Many families who would not normally qualify for free or reduced price meals may still need assistance for financial hardships they have experienced this past year. That's the thing we all have seen. COVID, like, again,
Yep.
food insecurity was a big deal to start with, but
And then it
COVID
was
made
made
it
worse.
all worse.
Absolutely.
And here's a school district that's going, hey, you know what? We're not going to participate in that program. Y'all can go back to paying for lunch.
Yeah.
What?
It's like, fuck these kids. Like, fuck these kids. We don't want to spoil them. All right. What is that? That bothers me.
That's the whole, like, oh, well, you know, we can't have unemployment for too long. We have to cap it after a certain point because people will just get used to having that sweet, sweet money from the government and they won't go back to work. They'll just live off the government. It's the same reason why these people are against WIC and food stamps and all the government programs that
they're so not in touch with what actually, like, if you're poor, it's not something you revel in.
Yeah.
It's not something you say, oh, look at me, I'm getting money from the government. You're never going to get, nobody says that. Nobody's proud of it. It's not something that people are happy about and they would like to get off.
Yep.
So they are just so out of touch, and pisses me off. But yeah, that's what they think of poor people. It's like you're demonized if you're poor.
Yep. Because, again, all you have to do is reach down, grab onto that bootstrap,
and
pull yourself right up, and go get yourself a good job, 2 or 3 of them maybe.
Yeah.
And
yeah. It's out of touch. That's someone who is way out of touch.
I'm gonna read the rest of this because I'm still mad about it. Waukesha School Board Treasurer Patrick McCaffrey said in a meeting he had not been aware that all school meals were being provided for free. I didn't know they were giving away free food. How dare you? He said he was confident that students who couldn't afford meals would be able to qualify under the traditional program. Our administrative team has never let a large amount of kids fall between the cracks, and it's not going to happen next year, McCaffrey said. I think anyone that's concerned about it, their concerns are not needed. Jess Hinker, an executive assistant for the district, said one of those is right, said in a meeting that she has noticed in previous years some students do go without meals because they don't qualify or because their parents haven't turned in applications. We have seen kids that don't eat, she said. They constantly go to the health room to get whatever snacks the health room might provide. Stack also noted that under the traditional system, some students who qualify for free breakfast may not feel comfortable accepting it because they will stick out as being from a low-income family.
Exactly.
There does seem to be some stigma to breakfast being for those students, she said. Yeah. None of this is...
It's embarrassing. I was poor. I had to have free lunch. I didn't want anyone to know. It's not, trust me, they're not going to get spoiled on it. It's bullshit.
Right?
It's
my God. In a press release, district officials said the free breakfast program, which handed each student a meal each morning, led to significant food waste. Ask them if they want it before you. Anyway, they also said demand for meals over the summer had declined. Oh, and don't fucking talk to me about food waste. We throw so much goddamn food away in
And
this
there's
country.
nothing wrong with it. I just read an article about that, or maybe it was something you posted. I don't know. Yeah, it's shameful. Shameful.
Yep.
I'm so done with America.
Right.
Just shameful.
Another concern with the universally free program, they noted, was that families would not need to fill out forms sharing information about their income. Why do you need that? Feed people. Doesn't matter. Jesus Christ. Thus, the district would not have this information on file to quickly determine eligibility for free meals if the universal program came to an end. Here, free solution for you from a non-college educated person in America. If and when that free program, universal free program ends, then you go back to having them fill the forms out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was easy. Additionally, these forms are used to estimate the percentage of students in poverty, which determines the amount of funding received for various programs. There's other way to get that data. There are other ways to get that data. There are other ways. However, as this is an issue faced by districts across the country, federal and state officials have shared guidance about alternate ways to calculate the needed rates. See, told you there were other ways. District officials also noted their food service program will lose money as a result of leaving the universally federally funded program, which reimburses districts at higher rates than the traditional program. I would suggest this is either an uninformed or underinformed decision on the part of the school board, Tussler said, and it should be revisited quickly because it's going to result in a loss of substantial revenue for the school system, and that revenue could be used to create additional programming or improve the quality of food on the plate, which is another problem that we don't address the way we should.
Yeah.
They get cheese fucking sandwiches.
Where's the vegetables?
I'm so mad.
Protein, even. There's no cheese.
Right.
The cheese that they give them is probably not like the real cheese.
Right.
It's like cheese products.
Yeah, right.
Oh, geez.
Cheese or cheese-like products. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Nothing new. Okay. So, like, here's the thing. Our organization is involved in food insecurity mitigation programs. We take food to a Title I school every week, groceries for these people who don't have food at home to eat. Like,
yeah.
So you mean to tell me you're going to take away the school lunch, which for a lot of these kids is the only food they have.
Yeah. Because you don't want to spoil them. Oh. And they go home and they have nothing. They go home. The reason, like you said, school is where they can get a dependable meal.
Yeah. And that is a shame.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Because again, in the wealthiest nation in the world, it doesn't have to be this way.
Yeah. We don't need to have people living on the streets. We don't need to have kids who can't get any food or have to go to school in order to eat.
Yeah.
And then we turn around and demonize these people.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And it's just this horrible cycle.
What do you mean your parents can't take care of you? Shouldn't have kids if you can't take care of them. Oh, you know how many times I've heard that? Shouldn't have kids.
Yeah, well, I tried to have an abortion, but somebody made me have the baby. Ooh! Let me get the horn.
Yeah.
It's a horrible cycle.
This place is all kinds of backwards fucked up.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
This is not the world I want to live in. And that's why I got into all of this, right? I got into all of this activism stuff and like doing the media production things to talk about issues. Because this isn't the world I want for us. I want a better world, and we have it. We could solve half of this stuff if we just taxed the rich. Start there.
And then tax the rich, and then tax the churches, and then yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. the, all of this stuff, and I know y'all are tired of hearing me say this.
Tons of money just sitting there that we could.
Yeah, in an offshore account in the Cayman Islands,
Exactly.
usually. Yeah. But yeah, like imagine if you were a rich person. Like I couldn't imagine just sitting on hordes of money. Like I would want to be known as the rich person that ended poverty. You know what I
Ended
mean? Like
poverty. Yeah.
I that's what I'd want to be known for.
You
Not
mean you
like
don't want to ride a big old metallic dick into space? I mean,
I mean, maybe. But here's the thing. That fool is so independently wealthy that he could do
right.
both. He could
I
do
know,
both.
right?
He could ride rockets every week and still eliminate food insecurity in this country.
Yeah. If only he gave a shit.
In the
Like,
world, if it take away the dick rocket, the whole
Right.
world, right? Because that's the other thing. Like we're in the U.S. and so we're focused on like what's
Yeah.
going on here in our backyard a lot. But also we recognize that things are
It's everywhere.
it's everywhere. Yeah.
It is. And
Uh,
yeah, it just shouldn't be in a place like this because we have the ability to stop it.
right. And we should be ashamed. We should be ashamed of
Mhm.
ourselves. Y'all be ashamed of
Mhm.
yourselves. Like, because this could, again, this could be solved. It doesn't have to be this way. Vote like it matters. Like, think about other people. All of this, everything we ever talk about on here is all about it's think about other people. It's humanism, right?
Mhm.
Everything. The wear your mask, the get your vaccine, the wash your hands, the
Yeah.
all of the things.
Drop the pride,
Cha-
drop the ego. It has nothing to do with religion. Just be a good person, help somebody, or try not to kill someone
Right.
inadvertently. I mean, it's really not that hard.
Yep. Anyway, that's all the news for tonight. Let's talk about what's going on in the world. Let's get you're busy doing packing and things, so I know you don't have anything but home things going on, but
Yeah.
we're talking about food security, and that always makes me think of Foundation Beyond Belief and the work
Yeah.
that we do together with Foundation
Yeah.
Beyond Belief. Talk about what's going on there.
Um, really not a huge update. I mean, we are continuing. That is our main focus right now is food insecurity. We did the summer without hunger, and that ended for kids who, like we just talked about, kids are out of school for summer and they don't get a meal. So we were providing meals for kids. Right now we're just getting ready for our annual appeal, and then because continuing to support our um, Beyond Belief Network teams, who I just want to give a shout out to every team that we support, and then then even that we don't support that are doing the work of going out of the kindness of their heart,
Mm-hmm.
spending their own time and sometimes their own money to go around to whatever their local community and help a group of people who have nothing. I mean, that is what we're talking about. That's what everyone should be doing. So shout out to every single one of you who do that. And we're looking to try to expand that program and be able to give more grants to monthly grants and expand
Mm-hmm.
it to give it to more teams. So
I have talked to group leaders recently that are dealing with all kinds of various things in the local secular group management world. Is we're all up in turmoil right now too because of COVID. There are local groups that are desperately trying to get back to quote unquote normal and have events again, and like that's really hard for me to pull that trigger on, but I get why you're there, and struggling with what's the direction of our group. Who are we as a atheist community or a humanist
Mhm.
community or whatever, and my appeal to anyone who's involved in a local group like ours. Service is where it's at. It really is meaningful and fulfilling, and like if we're not going to do these things through the mechanisms of government, then it's literally up to us
Yeah,
to do them.
It really is.
Yeah. So
It really is.
so start a program, get involved, do all those things, because it really does. It really makes a difference. I think about like the kids that we give food to. They don't even know it's us. It's not an
Yeah.
advertising opportunity.
Yeah,
It's not
doesn't
like,
matter.
oh, come to Atheist Church. It's
Yeah.
here's some food. Doesn't matter
Right.
where it came from.
No
We
strings.
just go
No
eat.
strings.
Please go eat.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Last weekend, I participated in a panel with Mandisa Thomas. Love
Missed it.
Mandisa.
I love
Candace-
her too.
Candace
She's-
Gorham,
Love Candace.
who I don't know yet, but I'm
Oh,
looking
no.
forward to getting to know her better.
She's amazing.
Seth Andrews of the Thinking Atheist fame, and Larry Mendoza, the snake guy. people will only know Larry as the snake guy. At freaking Dragon Con. How cool is that?
I missed it. I missed
Oh,
the. I
man.
didn't. I'll have to like see if I can get like the replay or something. 'Cause
Well,
I missed it.
well. I may or may not have posted some bootleg audio
Oh,
on my Patreon. I'll get that. I'll get you that.
Cool.
So like patreon.com/SarahTalk if you want to get all of the things that I do that's not related to this show.
Okay.
It's not much, but folks can check that out if they like. It was part of the Skep track, right? So Dragon Con has different tracks that follow different themes or topics or whatever, and there's a skeptic track. And we did a conversation, the thing that all of us have in common. What does Mandisa and Candace and Seth and Larry and Sarah all have in common? We're all humanist celebrants. And so we had a conversation about like not just humanist ceremonies and what does a humanist celebrant do and what does a humanist wedding look like, but also just in general the need for people that's baked into us as humans, the need that we have to take moments to recognize important milestones in our lives and create ceremony and ritual and tradition around things like that. That's not religious. Religions don't own that, right? So we talked about like how you do that in a secular context and what that looks like. So it was really fun. And I'm so thankful for Mandisa inviting me to be a part of that. And you can get the bootleg audio if you like.
Awesome.
Is there anything coming up? I don't think I have anything going on.
I don't have anything.
Well, no, you have
sorta.
packing to do. You
I
have
have
lots
packing
of work
to do. I'm
do.
trying to get the hell out of Florida.
Uh,
But I did want to mention though, I'm Dragon Con is where I first found out that there were other Black atheists.
oh,
I
no
used to
shit.
I used to go to Dragon Con all the time dressed up as something or other. And it was, I don't remember the year, it was like 2014 or something.
Mhm.
That's when I in the area back when, we were walking around packed like sardines,
Yeah.
not afraid to be close to each other. And there was an area where Mandisa was boothing, and that's when I first saw her, and I was like, "What? No way!" There's a,
That's awesome.
and yeah, I was like,
I love Mandisa.
she's amazing, and what she does is really important.
Yeah, she does like a lion's share of work single-handedly for
Yeah,
the organization for secular Black folks, and like she's just amazing.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's it then for Freethought in Florida. The theme of the night: care about each other. Just freaking care about each other. Do things that make a difference for other people. think about other people when your decisions are being made. Think about people who will think about other people when you're voting.
Yeah.
Like,
Be empathetic. Don't
yeah.
ever think, oh, that doesn't affect me, because someday it might. And so, yeah, when you're voting and just when you're just walking out of your house, give a shit.
Give
give a shit. And I'm holding true to my shirt. I solemnly swear a lot.
Love it. Okay, kids. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Good to see some people in the live chat, and the show made it the whole night without crashing. I think
we figured out the secret? All right.
I hope. Freethought in Florida is available on YouTube, Facebook, all the popular podcast players. You can find the subscribe links at fif.show, and send us an email to info@fif.show. Like, subscribe, share out the episodes, help us reach a bigger audience. And of course, remember the 3 most important things: wash your hands, get your vaccine, and be kind to each other. Be safe, everybody. We'll see you next week on Freethought in Florida.